and welcome to The Thread, a podcast about the latest tech and business trends in fashion, learning, and outsourcing. In our first episode here today, I am joined by Tommy C., who is the Product Marketing Director in the Applications Division at CGS. Tommy, first of all, I just want to thank you for being here today.
No, thanks for having me. First episode, super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to address our main topic, first of all, which is sustainability. So what is the environmental impact in the fashion and apparel industry?
Yeah, it's an important topic. When you take a look at the fashion and apparel industry, it's the second largest polluter in the world today, second to just the oil industry. And then take a look at the trends, right? Fast fashion, more product is being created at a faster rate. Population growth, we have 7.7 billion people in the world today, and that is growing at roughly a 1% rate year over year. And then you also have changing consumer shopping habits. People today are just buying more product than they were before. And you take a look at all of those trends, and if companies don't make an effort in their sustainability initiatives, the problem within the industry is only going to get worse.
Wow, that's a lot of interesting factors. Wow, I know you were telling me earlier outside that it takes 2,700 liters of water just to create one cotton shirt. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of water, and that's over 700 gallons of water, right? And when you think about that, that's enough water for one person to drink for 2.5 years. And I think what it shows is water usage has always been a major issue within the industry. 20% of the industrial wastewater produced globally is from this apparel and fashion industry. But there's good news too. When we take a look at Levi's, right, they've committed to using new processes and new technology to reduce the amount of water that they use in producing a pair of denim jeans. When you take a look at just fibers, there's organic cotton versus regular cotton. If you look at organic cotton, it uses 80% less water and over 60% less energy to produce. So there are alternative options, and companies are exploring these options.
Wow, that's really cool. I know your company in particular, CGS, has conducted a survey on sustainability. What is pushing these efforts for companies to do things like this?
Yeah, I think there's just more information available to people today. Consumers are more aware of what's going on with factory conditions, the impact on greenhouse emissions, chemicals being used in production, energy use. All of that information is just really transparent, and consumers are aware, and they want alternative options. They want companies to be more responsible. And then on the other end, I think for the brands, the manufacturers, the companies themselves, they also notice their impact on the environment. And a lot of companies are looking at their entire supply chain and thinking about what are ways we can improve, right? How can we reduce the amount of energy being used? How can we use less water? And these are all positive things as part of the movement.
Wow, okay, that's really, really great. Now, I was looking over the survey a little bit, and I saw that Generation Z had a huge impact involving it. I personally am a part of Generation Z, so what can you tell me about my own generation?
Yes, that's actually a big part of the report. So in our survey, we surveyed over 1,000 consumers, and we found out that people really care about sustainability, and they're looking for alternative options, right? So over 35% were willing to pay upwards to 25% more for a sustainable product. And when we kind of narrow down to just the Gen Z group, and Gen Z is anyone born in the mid-1990s, they were even more willing to pay more money. And they were willing to pay 50 to 100% more. So that's really just one example. And then when we take a look at buying factors, right? Why would you buy a product? A lot of times it's the quality of the product. The Gen Z group identified really a company that had sustainable initiatives as a major buying factor, which is bigger than any other age groups.
Wow, 50 to 100% more. That's a lot. And other than Generation Z, are there any other things that stood out to you from the survey?
Yeah. So taking a look at the report, it's very prominent that sustainability is top of mind for a lot of companies. And when consumers are looking to buy product, yes, price, quality are major buying factors, but they care about a company's mission. They care about if a company follows sustainable and ethical business practices. They, of course, want to buy because of a company's brand name, right? And that's the reputation that they have built. And what that really tells me is how important marketing is now within the organization. Because you take a look at the fashion apparel industry, it's a very saturated market. I mean, if you want to buy a shirt, you have hundreds, if not thousands of options. So how do you stand out in such a saturated market? And looking specifically at the sustainability segment, there's a number of options as well. So companies really need to kind of take notice and share their story, share their journey through their website, through different media such as print, digital, at the point of sale, and to try to share their message with the end consumer and to be very genuine so that it resonates.
Absolutely. Now, I hear you talking a lot about companies. You mentioned Levi's before. Are there any companies other than Levi's that are in particularly making an impact here?
Yeah, there are definitely a few. I recently saw that Gap recently partnered with NL Green Power to commit to using renewable energy sources to power all of their retail stores. So that's one great example. Another example is a company called Tencel, which is really a branded name for a fiber called lyocell. And this is a wood-based fiber that uses recyclable materials and is more environmentally friendly. And a lot of popular companies and brands that we all know uses the Tencel product within their production process. Patagonia, Allbirds, Tentree. So a lot of companies are making a difference through a number of different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. For the companies that aren't making a difference yet but want to, what should they look into? What resources should they look into to take the first step forward?
Yeah, there's a lot of information online, right? And one go-to resource I like to use is the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. They have something called the HIG Index, the HIG Sustainability Index. And this index was actually originated by Nike. Since then, it's really evolved, and now it's adopted by over 200 companies. The HIG Index is a set of tools that allows companies to measure and score their sustainability performance and their efforts. Also, if you are a brand, if you're a company, right, partnerships are key. And a lot of times you are going to take a look at who are the factories that I can partner with that are going to produce my product, but also are compliant within sustainability guidelines. And the website at Sustainable Apparel Coalition, if you're a member, they provide a list of factories that are already compliant. So it's really a great go-to resource.
Yeah, I know you were telling me earlier that Tom's actually gives away a pair of shoes for every pair that they sell. That's really good.
Yeah, that's their popular 1-for-1 program. A lot of companies are doing something similar. In addition to giving a pair of shoes away for every product sold to a child in need, they also have other programs and initiatives. They're investing in clean water, and they're also providing eye care to people in need. So it's really, they're making a big social impact. Another example is Tentree. This is a sustainable clothing brand. And for every product sold, they'll plant 10 trees for each product. So these are really great ways for companies to make an impact and also to share the work, share the story that they have on their website. And these companies, I think, do a really great job. And it's one way for brands to really stand out in such a saturated market.
Okay, wow, that's really cool. Now, I know that in the status quo, the economy is booming. We all know that. And companies have a little bit of extra dollars in their pockets to spend on initiatives like this. I know a lot of analysts are saying we may hit a recession soon. If we do hit a recession, do you think that would affect these initiatives at all?
It's a really good question. I think sustainability definitely across all industries, right, is a major challenge and is a major issue. I think within the apparel and fashion industry, companies are looking at ways to really optimize and to improve their end-to-end supply chain. They're trying to make it leaner, they're trying to make it faster. They need more transparency. And that in turn helps with their sustainability initiatives. So even in a recession, I really think there's going to be minimal impact because companies can't stay in business if they don't improve on their supply chain. And then don't forget, there's also a lot of federal incentives for companies to move to a more green impact and to have sustainability initiatives as part of their core goals. So yeah, like I said, I think really there's going to be low impact.
Okay, so not a worry there. Now I want to talk to you a little bit more about your own company, CGS. How is CGS individually reacting to this movement?
Yeah, we've been in the fashion and apparel industry for over 35 years, and we have a product called Blue Cherry. It's a end-to-end supply chain management system for brands, retailers, wholesalers, and manufacturers, right? So when we think about sustainability initiatives, it's all about transparency in your supply chain. What are the factories you're working with? What suppliers are you working with? So we enable that transparency in the supply chain for all of our customers. And really, that's one way we're helping our customers push towards their sustainability initiatives.
Okay, wow, that's really, really cool. Now, the last main thing I want to ask you about, a little bit of a personal question, but I don't think you'll mind. What's your personal favorite sustainable brand? Do you wear a lot of sustainable clothes?
So if you take a look at my closet, right, I have a lot of Nike product, and there's a number of reasons why I like Nike. The biggest reasons is that when we talked about marketing, I think their messaging really resonates with me. They always want you to be the best version of yourself, and that no dream is too big, right? And it's something I can really appreciate. But then on the other end, they have a lot of sustainability initiatives that a lot of people might not know. I mean, 75% of all of their product, regardless if it's footwear or clothing, uses recyclable material. Oh, wow. They're also committed to using renewable energy and making that commitment to use 100% renewable energy soon. So when we think about sort of making an impact, companies, the largest companies, need to sort of take the lead. And I think Nike is a great example of this.
Okay, yeah, that's a really, really cool answer. I wear a lot of Nikes myself, so I definitely can relate. Well, that's all we have for the first episode of The Thread. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, that sustainability report we've been talking about can be found online with keywords CGS Sustainability Survey. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast on YouTube and your preferred podcast source. We're exclusively sponsored by CGS, an outsourcing, application, and learning company that supports clients' most fundamental business activities. Visit cgsinc.com for more information. I'm your host, Evan Aldo. Let's stay connected.